Good evening and welcome to tonight's session, the last session of 2021, and we're going to do something a little bit different tonight with selling on LinkedIn. We're actually going to have a discussion between myself, Terry and Curtis. Now, as you've probably gathered, I haven't deepened my voice and had a medical procedure to make me sound like one of those cool announcers on radio. I'm actually suffering with a bit of a sore throat, so if I end up a bit croaky or start talking like a teenager where it goes up and down, I apologize in advance. So just before we get started, please let us know where you're joining from in the chat. We'll try and respond to questions, but I've got some questions for Curtis and Terry, and they actually don't know what they are, so we're going to get instant responses. But before we do anything else, please let us know you're here, and I will intro Terry and Curtis, where they'll tell you a little about who they are, what they do, and how long they've been using LinkedIn, and a bit of their story, and then we'll come back and start to do some questions.
Cool. Oh, was that me? that was like the worst hangover possible. Okay, so just to introduce myself, I'm Terry Heath. I'm Chief Operating Officer here at Maverrik. So I've been around in the company for three plus years, I think now, or coming up 3 years. In that time, that's when I've been on LinkedIn. I'm one of those that started with a LinkedIn account, 120 connections, not a clue what I was doing. You learn the process, you learn the strategies and everything. Now, maxed out, I'm at that point where people are just following and really understanding the benefits of LinkedIn and how businesses can really leverage this platform to just grow their sales, to grow their business on the platform.
So I'm Curtis, I'm the Head of Business Development at Maverrik. I've been working for Maverrik just over 2 years, I think 2 years and 2 months now. I've been in tons of sales roles previously. To be fair, since joining Maverrik was probably the first time since I've used LinkedIn social selling. For me, it's probably the best way to do sales, and I'm not just saying that just because I work at Maverrik. It is one of the easiest for me.
Cool, so gents, I'm going to ask you some questions. I want your honest opinions, and let's just see where this goes. So first question to you both, LinkedIn automation. Honest answers on what you think of it.
Ooh, honest answers on LinkedIn automation. Okay, I'm a bit of one of those people, if I can automate the life out of it, I probably will. However, there are cautions. LinkedIn, they don't like it, obviously, and it's not something I would heavily promote on this platform whatsoever, purely because the genuine good quality contacts that you're looking for, those conversations that you want to turn into future business, do not come through automation. So if you want success on this platform, don't go heavily automating your activity on the platform. It's just not good for you, and it's long-term isn't good for your account.
So I've probably got a similar answer. For me, it's probably more hassle than worth. As you know, similar to what Terry said, LinkedIn is really against automation. I believe it's in their terms and conditions as well, so they're fully against automation. As Terry previously said as well, if you're looking to create organic conversations with people, you can't template that or you can't pull it into an automated message. It just won't work. And I think a lot of people now on LinkedIn, they've made ways to catch automation by having images in their names or just changing something on their profile to try and catch people out. So once you get caught out, you've lost all credibility with that prospect. True. So for me, it's longer doing it organically and doing it manually, but long term, you get so much more better results.
So with that said, it's longer to get it to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Here at Maverrik, we practice what we preach. So everybody who's in sales has to follow our own methodology. So we don't practice what we don't preach. Oh, we don't. Say that again. We practice what we preach, and we practice what we teach. So, gents, how long, if somebody's coming to LinkedIn from another platform, or maybe they've been cold calling, or maybe they've been using email, realistically, how long will it take them to get the hang of it and replace the other way of doing things?
So, in my honest opinion, if you've been in sales for quite a long time, it should not take you too long. So I believe from all of the experience that I've had from cold calling, the experience that I've had from face-to-face sales, I've learned to almost have that agileness about me.
Yeah.
So in terms of creating these organic conversations with people, I can think very quickly. So when we always talk about our 7 steps methodology here at Maverrik, it's all about creating engaging reciprocal interactions with your prospects. So I can do that quite well just from my previous experience. If you're coming from, let's say, a less experienced sales background, it shouldn't take too long. I would say in a matter of weeks, you'll be up and running, but it's just having a systematic process of going, okay, this is my step 1, this is step 2, and this is step 3. Just having a process where you go, I'm doing it in a way that I'm always doing a lot of repetition, and I'm not just doing a small bit of this and a small bit of that, and then nothing's working together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the key things people need to understand about LinkedIn, there is no magic wand overnight success on the platform. You're going to have to start from a point where nobody knows you exist on the planet. You're going to have to create awareness, then start creating some intrigue. I'm actually looking for another word.
Curiosity.
Curiosity is the one I'm looking for. Start building that, and it will take time to build momentum. But the fundamentals of how to use LinkedIn, you can learn that in a day. But then it's about the implementation. It's about you putting it into practice on a consistent basis, that then as the momentum starts to build and awareness starts to grow on the platform, you will then start to get those interactions that you're looking for.
So what's the worst sales pitch you've ever had?
Oh, good one. Worst sales pitch. I can't think of one at the top of my head.
Shall I give you mine whilst you're thinking of
Go on. I'm trying to think which is the worst one.
So mine happened like literally 2 or 3 days ago. So this guy, I assume it's a guy, connects with me, and he's voted Marketer of the Year 2020. So I immediately, when somebody says Marketer of the Year 2020, I'm like, by who? So I get that. The profile picture of them on LinkedIn was Robert Downey Jr. And then basically, when the pitch came, it was, do you want to learn how to generate leads on LinkedIn? I'm like, oh. So immediately, I knew they hadn't read my profile. I was on an automated sequence. So I knew, and this is the best bit, I replied and said, sure. I got no response because obviously his automation is working faster than he can. And then the chaser message came a couple of days later, chasing, oh, I didn't hear back from you. Well, you did, mate, but you didn't actually reply to me. And the thing that bugs me about that, I get really grumpy, is we've entered this phase where we think that actually just bragging and boasting and telling people how amazing you are can actually yield a result. And it doesn't. It just makes you look like an idiot. And I did a podcast episode about this, about how there's this trend now of awards companies. And I had one this afternoon saying, oh, we'd love you to be, you're nominated for an award. I'm like, great. Then I read, and actually you have to buy the award. And it's like, okay, I can be Marketer of the Year. It costs me 50 quid and they'll send me that. And if I want a press release, it's 300 quid. And it's like, come on, there needs to be a bit more grown up. So that's mine. Automation, clunky messaging, no targeting, and using bragging that just doesn't really do anything.
I think mine's quite similar to yours, Dean, in the sense that I once was invited to join a female networking group. Yes, my first name is Terry. Yes, it can be male or female, but a little bit of research, you know, I do have a profile picture and it is obviously male. I don't think anyone's ever mistaken me for a female. Please, no comments. So, you know, to get that message and just understand that someone's obviously just done a big search, compiled a list, no checking that list out, there's no quality to it, whatever, and just spam messaging out. And that's just worst example of where people are trying to automate something you've got to do organically, actually create relationships. And, you know, I say stuff like that and it's just goodbye. Don't want to know.
Yeah, so mine are very similar. It's the two bulky ones where they'll send you a 10-page war and peace of going, hi, would you like to use my print facilities? We can do A4 format, A3 format, A2 format, A1 format, a full list of all these options where they just haven't shown me what value I can get from them. So they've almost offered me their full buffet of here's what you can buy from us, but I'm not going to tell you why you need this kind of thing. And probably secondly is the automation, which I think a group of us at Maverrik had the post from someone who said, "Hi, I've just seen your engagement on 𝗙𝗏𝗄𝗧 post. Would you like to boost or learn some more?" So they even sent that to me when I am 𝗙𝗏𝗄𝗧, which was quite funny.
Okay, so you talked there about understanding how you deliver your value. One of the big challenges we come across is companies who are trying to sell, and they've got so much to sell that they don't really know what they should be doing. We talk about focusing in and having a very clear value proposition for a particular group of people, not niching, but understanding your value to the market. How important is that in reality? Explain why that's so important.
Yeah, it's very true that a lot of the people we work with, they'll have a whole suite of products and services that they want to sell people, and they're so keen to grab any sales, any piece of attention they can get to secure that sale, that they end up trying to pitch everything at once. And it just doesn't work. Everything falls. It's that principle. If you walk into the supermarket, you want a tin of soup, and there's 15 brands, you end up not walking away with a tin of soup because you just don't have the mental capacity to bother to figure out which of these 15 is actually the best one. It's going in with that one, we call it the one strategy, that one clear, defined product. The one that, in truth, will probably unlock the doors for other stuff further down the line. But it's having that one and communicating that clearly. In a sense, that's what people engage with you for. That's your primary product. And that works far more successfully than saying, "Hey, we've got a suite of 12 different products. Which one would you be interested in?" And people just go, "I'm not interested in any of them." You've got to define it.
Yeah, and for me, it's incredibly important. So we always come across when we speak to so many different prospects where they really don't understand what their actual pain point is. Yeah. So typically we speak to a lot of companies where they go, "Okay, my pain point is that you'll do it faster with us, or you'll do it on a cheaper basis." The question is, if you actually put yourself in the position of your prospects, they're probably receiving that same answer from a million different companies. Everyone's saying they're faster, everyone's saying they're cheaper, everyone's saying they're better. Now, to that prospect doesn't understand how they can get value from you because everyone's saying the exact same message. So if you reverse engineer everything and almost talk about their pain points, fully understand how you can benefit them, that's when people go, "Okay, I see the value in this product and I can see how I benefit." I think what a lot of people struggle to do is that they'll go, "Okay, our service can benefit people in 10 different ways. Here's all of the benefits."
Yeah.
But to that specific person, only maybe 2 of those benefits might benefit them. So it's understanding that pain point and understanding that value that you can deliver to them.
Cool. What do you think the biggest challenge is? Well, I'm going to ask 2 questions. Maybe Terry, you answer the question 1, and Curtis, you answer question 2. What's the reason to post content and content daily? And Curtis, what's the biggest challenge for creating content?
So why to do content and do it daily? Simply, do you want to be seen? Do you want to know people know that you actually exist? Then you're going to have to show up on the platform. You're going to have to show up on a consistent basis, and we would always encourage people to go and be there daily. There is principles that, and the way the algorithm works, that what you do on Monday can benefit what's happening on Tuesday, what's happening on Wednesday, and build that momentum throughout the week. If you jump on the platform and post once on Monday, and then get around to it on Thursday again, you're not going to be building the momentum you're looking for. Your reach isn't increasing. In fact, you do one post and then it's up and then it falls flat, and you've got to start again. This is why we would always advocate post 5 days a week. It sounds like a lot, but the getting into the rhythm of doing that, and we all do that here at Maverrik, means that I'm visible. I'm showing up in somebody's feed every single day. The first time they interact with my content, the algorithm's going to say, "Oh, so you like Terry's content? Fantastic. Okay, we'll show you what he posts tomorrow and the day after when he posts and the day after he posts." So what's happening now is daily they start seeing my face, my name, and my content, and I'm evidencing my knowledge base and my expertise through what I'm talking about, the topics and subjects that I deal with. And when it's time for them to buy, when they're looking for those products and services, who's the name that they remember? Which is the company that they've come across time and time again? It's me in their feed, and that's what you're looking to establish. You can't do that if you show up once or twice in a blue moon on this platform.
So from speaking to tons of people about content, I probably would say the hardest barrier to producing content every single day is probably not having a plan. So the reason why you need the plan is there'll be so many times where we talk about posting daily and like the positive effects of posting daily. So many people will go, oh, that sounds a lot, or does that take up too much time? The only reason why that takes up too much time is because there's not a plan in place. So when it comes that day when you go, oh, I need to post, if you're thinking about it last minute and you haven't got the muscle memory to do that, a post can take half an hour because you're going to go, okay, what do I post about firstly? Is it going to be a PDF? Is it going to be a poll? Is it going to be an image? Is it going to be a text? What should I include in that? What's the pain points I need to talk about? What's the call to action? There's so much that you're trying to think about all at once that it takes much longer. Whereas if you go, okay, here's my schedule for the week. I know I need to get a poll out today. I know I need to get a news article out today. I know I need to get a pain point post out. It just becomes muscle memory and it makes it very easy. So if you look at me, I've got myself into the habit of every half an hour before I finish the end of my day, I'll plan my tomorrow's post. Therefore, tomorrow it's just easy. If you look at my colleague Josh, who's one of my sales reps, he'll plan his posts all on Sunday. So from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he just has to press post in the morning. So just having a plan makes things so much more easier for you. But I also think having a plan will also help in terms of your confidence. Because if you're trying to do things last minute, your confidence is there going, will that poll work? Will that piece of content work? But if you plan ahead of this, it just becomes so much more easier.
It's true.
Okay, so you talked about the different types of posts there. We have two different types of posts we talk about. Just talk a little bit about the two different types of posts and what we call the content sandwich. Just explain that to people.
Do you want to kick that one off?
Yeah, so the content sandwich is basically where we will start our schedule with a engagement post. So an engagement post is basically, it's what it says on the tin. It's there to engage an audience. The reason why we do an engagement post is, as you know, people will always buy from people. So they will always naturally find engagement posts more engaging. So what will happen with the algorithm as well, the people who will see your post today will naturally see your posts for the next 48 hours. So we're almost giving your business posts, which will come after the engagement post, a head start. So it's almost like your business post will start from up there instead of having a dip, because naturally business posts will always have less visibility. So it's just giving your business post a booster, really.
Yeah, it's very true. You know, so examples of engagement posts would be, let's say there's something very topical in the news, something that relates to your industry, and it's maybe on BBC, CNN, wherever that platform may be. As long as it's a well-known, globally recognized platform, share that article in. Of course, it has a wide appeal. So lots of people will engage with it, viewing it, liking it, possibly even commenting on it. And you leverage a large audience on day one. So I typically will do that on a Monday. I might use news articles, might use polls, just something. Recently, I did one, a very simple one, which was, have you put up your Christmas decorations yet? I'd noticed in my neighborhood, Christmas decorations were going up very early this year. Maybe that's because of what we've all been through in the last couple of years, or the last year. People just need a bit of cheering up. So I just asked a simple question. I thought, I'm interested to know, how many other people have considered putting Christmas decorations up? So I put up a poll. It gets hundreds of thousands of views. Now, what I'm doing is on Monday, I've gathered this big crowd. Now, everybody who's engaged with that post on the Monday, the algorithm says, okay, you've engaged with Terry. You obviously like what he's got to say. And the algorithm isn't looking at what I've said or the content. It's looking at the engagement, who's actually looking at that post. It then will present my stuff in their feed the following day. Now, not everybody engages with that, as Curtis said, because now on day two, I'm more business focused. So I talk about one of our products, our services, our programs, anything like that. And it's very much more, not a niche market in itself, but the focus is more defined. So therefore, that huge audience who was always there for Christmas decorations on day one, day two, now I'm talking about social selling. Of course, most of that audience is not going across, but a percentage will. So I leverage that into the day, bringing in the rest of the day's organic growth. And I'm giving myself an advantage by the way of doing it. And this is one of the reasons we would encourage you to post every single day. Build that momentum, understand that strategy, build the audience, then present. I build the audience again, then I present, and I keep it going and just sandwiching it in all the time and just making that work in my favor.
So, okay, two more questions. So, when we talk about business posts, Can you define that, but also say why it's a bad idea, why we think it's a bad idea to just post business posts alone? So that's the first question. The second question is, salespeople might be watching this and going, I don't have time for this relationship thing. People either want my product or they don't. I'm just going to try and find the people who want my product. What would you say to that person? So there's two questions there. Split it up however you like.
I've forgotten what the first one was now.
Business posts every day. Or
Business
posting just business promotional content.
If you're sticking business posts every day, and I won't name and shame, but I know a particular person who has a particular branding for every image they ever put on every post. And if you look at their feed of content, they all merge one into another. There's no definition between what they're talking about on any separate day, because the similar colors are there. It's a similar template they use. It's their face in the corner, and it's everything the same day. And it's business, 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 business. And I would be, a great example of this is, I now see his name and I skip him. I literally will skip his. Why? It's because I'm bored of looking at his content. It's that simple. If he mixes it up and there's different stuff in there, different types of content using polls and PDFs and images, text only, all that sort of thing, you're far likely to engage people because they're interested in what you're doing. You're not just giving them template one after another, and you're not just hammering this business message all the time, because they'll hear it on the first, the second, the third post. After that, it's sort of like, well, I've heard the same thing over and over again. Remember, it's a social platform. So you're going to have to engage as an individual as well. Let them get to know you. You can talk about that in various ways. What you're doing as a business, your results, the sort of things that you've done, the outcomes with clients, as well as what the product and the actual service is as well.
So the question about going for the easy wins or the people ready to buy. So essentially, there's only 3% of people that are ready to buy your product at any given time. So if you're always going for that 3%, one, it's not sustainable. Two, you're going to churn and burn the people that are not ready to buy. So at the end of the day, they might go, you know what, I won't ever want to do business with this person ever again. So actually, you're blowing your future chances. As a salesperson, if you're looking to become successful, hit commissions, hit your promotions, we want to go for the majority. So if you're just going for the 3% that are ready to buy, you're just not going to get very far. In terms of the content, and people go, oh, why should I be wasting my time on the content? I think it was Microsoft who done a study where they said it takes between 8 to 15 touch points for someone to buy from you. So if you're constantly going, okay, you know what, I won't bother with the content, but I'll just keep reinforcing my message to people by pitching them all the time. Essentially, it's going to take 8 to 15 straight pitches if they end up buying from you, or else they'll, but to be fair, if you receive 8 to 15 pitches from one person, you're probably just going to block them.
Yeah.
So actually, content is there to make your life easier, and you're just trying to nurture people, and it's just a sustainable way of just selling.
So I'll just add to that. We're seeing not many, but a significant increase in the number of people who have had permanent bans from the platform for bad behavior, aggressive connecting. And I don't mean, oh, I've been banned and I have to get a restriction lift. I mean a permanent lifetime ban. And I've met 3 or 4 salespeople in the last couple of months where they cannot use LinkedIn because of previous activity in previous roles, and they can't get an account. And even when we've spoken to people and friends of ours that are in the know in LinkedIn, they say, no, this is it. And it doesn't matter whether you create a, try and create a new one with a new email, anything like that, you lose the account forever. And so you end up in this space of having to create fake accounts. So next question, fake accounts, what's your view on them?
Fake
Terry
accounts,
Curtis, whichever.
Fake accounts, love them. It's my pet hobby. Go find them. There's nothing. Just stick on Google Pick and go and have a little reverse search on the images.
Walk us through that, Terry.
All that sort of,
signs to spot a fake account.
Yeah, signs to spot a fake account. That immaculate picture that just looks like it's been cropped from some model somewhere, and I very commonly I'll just go and do a quick Google search on the image, and it flags up, and you see the same picture on social media platforms it's obviously a fake. You can also look at the work history. They've had one job in the last 6 months, and yet the picture shows somebody who looks like they're, late 20s, early 30s or something like that. Really one job. There's just not enough information in there. You can tell it's been put together very hurriedly. Content-wise, there's next to nothing there. There might be one post that they're thrown up to try and make it look like there's something happening. In most cases, there's nothing there whatsoever. There's no history. You look at their activity, and they're not interacting on the platform, but yet here they are spamming you with messages and stuff like that all the time. It's not worth doing. We've had that the problem recently where companies creating spam accounts literally on the spot and then hammering our events with all of these fake leads, pulling away our audience from events and stuff like that. It's something that's common on every single social media platform, the fake account. But it's, on LinkedIn, in a sense, we want to do business. We want to have that relationship and build that rapport with people. So just be careful who you're connecting with. Actually do the research. Go and visit that profile. Have a look around. Just don't take it at face value. And don't get caught out by just some spammer who all they're really after is as much detail and public available information as they can get out of you.
Yeah, so completely against fake accounts. I would say if you're looking to do a fake account for whatever reason, whether you're ashamed of your job title or ashamed of your company, the great thing about LinkedIn is that it's an equal playing field. So it's almost you can compete with your biggest rival. Let's say you're number 1,000 in the world because your company's a lot smaller than number 1 in the world. LinkedIn gives you an equal playing field. So LinkedIn gives you that social proof of who you are. People can build trust with exactly who they want to talk to. They can see how credible you are. Because one, they can see all of the content that you're producing. They can see all of the people that you're engaging with. So it's always got that social proof. When you start using fake accounts, it just goes against all of that. And it's all about dishonesty. It's all about tricking people. You want to stick to real life accounts. And to be fair, by doing a real life account, you'll be tons more successful.
Yeah.
Okay, so some final few questions. How would you explain content priming and prospect priming to our watchers or viewers tonight?
Content priming, prospect, right? I'll do content, you do prospects. From a content, if you're talking about your value proposition, you're talking about the issues that you deal with, you talk about the evidence and outcomes with certain clients, and you're doing this over a period of time, of course, you're gaining an audience that's starting to understand who you are, who the company is, what the products and services are that you offer. As Curtis said, not everybody is there at that moment in the buying zone. It's that 3%. So you need to be evidencing who you are, who the company is, and what you do. Over a period of time, you're building up a trust and a confidence with these individuals. They get to evidence, or see the evidence of what you could deliver for them. And when they need it, they're coming back to you. I've got a great example, a gentleman called 𝗟𝗶𝗍𝗍, Lime franchising. I have no interest in franchising. But if I'm sat with a client and they're saying, look, we're looking to really cause business growth through franchising, who's the first person I'm thinking of? Well, it's Richard, because I see him every day in my feed. Client of ours a number of years ago now, but I still see him in my feed every single day. And so he's the person I'm going to recommend. I've seen his content. I know he knows what he's talking about. He's a nice guy, comes across really, really well. Here's the truth. There will be other franchises on LinkedIn, but I don't hear them speak. I don't see their content at all. But because he shows up on a consistent basis, he's the one who's at the front of my mind when I'm looking for that resource. And that's where you want to be with your content. Be the front of people's minds. Be present and before their eyes on a consistent basis. When they need you, they'll call upon you.
So I'll explain to everyone why it's important to do prospect priming firstly. So essentially from all of the people that we spoke to, we found that on average, people will only talk business with you as long as you created 2 to 3 reciprocal interactions with that person beforehand. And you can imagine in the real life world as well, if you was going to a networking event or even if you was out socially, you wouldn't want to talk business to the first person you've met. on that first conversation. It just wouldn't happen. And I feel when it comes to social selling, people almost forget about the social aspect of it, and they go, because I'm on an online platform, I'll just pitch people and I'll just keep pitching. So it's priming them to go, okay, let's start building that relationship with that person and nurturing them. So when we talk about creating reciprocal interactions, that's what we talk about when we mention prospect priming. That's almost 3 reasons why you want to do this. So typically we would do it with higher value targets even before connecting with them. So firstly, it builds familiarity around your profile. So when I now go to send the connection request, if I was reciprocating with Terry, I'm no longer a stranger. I'm now Curtis, who spoke to Terry about franchising on his post. So actually, a lot more people will actually accept you because you've created that reciprocal interaction. So you're no longer a stranger. You're almost taking away the stranger danger fact. Secondly, I'm almost training Terry to respond. So it's typically when a lot of salespeople do cold calling, they'll naturally go, I'll try and get the prospect to say yes 2 or 3 times to me before I actually pitch. It just makes that more friendly response, makes them more likely to say yes. But thirdly, what's actually happening, which is most important, the algorithm is going, hold on, Curtis and Terry are engaging with each other on the platform here. So they're keeping each other on the platform. So what we'll do is every time Curtis posts, we'll make sure Terry sees it, which is how you start using your market, your prospect and your content priming to appeal to the algorithm.
Cool. So, and this is the hardest question now, and this is not rehearsed, by the way. So if you're going to give some New Year 2022 tips, apart from sign up for our LinkedIn bootcamp, which I think will send some more information to you about joining that in January, what are the key things that people should be thinking about if they want to use LinkedIn as their main channel or as a revenue channel in 2022? What are some of the key tips that you want to give them to leave with tonight?
Oh, wow. There's a whole webinar in itself in that one. Key tips for 2022. Okay, so if you're not active right now on LinkedIn, or LinkedIn something you've dabbled in a little bit, you've done the odd post, see what's happening, and you basically thought, I'm not seeing much in the way of results. Well, one is because the consistency isn't there. So my advice is, number one, let's identify the audience. Who are your ideal clients? Who are you going after? Who are the prospects you want to have a business conversation with? Once you've clarified that and you know who you're talking to, then think about your content. What is that key thing in your business? That one thing that makes you stand out, makes you a little bit different from everybody else, that thing that you know, you've had the feedback from previous clients. Talk about that. Talk about how that came about. Talk about how that was a solution. What was the issue that you brought a solution to in those cases? And start putting content together. And, you know, as we discussed earlier, plan it ahead. Don't just put yourself under pressure on a daily. Plan it ahead. And then get into a consistent pattern of targeting the right people, the people you want to have a business conversation with, and your content is lining up with that whole aim. And then be proactive with other people's accounts. You can't just connect with people, put up content and sit back. You actually need to be proactive. Go and find those individuals' accounts once you get into that point. Do that exercise of interacting with them, like their content, get involved with their content, get the connections going, then start those conversations with those individuals. It will take time, and you have to build momentum as you go. But if you've not been serious about LinkedIn, get a plan together, go for it in 2022. If you need help with that, get in touch with us. We're happy to just really connect and give some tips and free advice. Dean just mentioned their boot camps as well. Boot camps are a fantastic tool to give you all of the fundamentals that you need, as well as a 5-week coaching structure where you've got some accountability to just push you on and get into the rhythm of doing it. So, you know, check those out. And as Dean said, we'll send you some more information about them.
So my 2 main tips will be, firstly, just do it. So I think if you look in the UK alone, only 4% of people are producing content. Yeah. So that's a very low number. Even if you look at LinkedIn as well, in terms of this year, they've brought in connection restrictions, they've put in message restrictions. If you get in now, you'll benefit tremendously. Yeah. Because I kid you not, it probably will just get harder and harder as more people adopt it, as more people use it correctly. So if you get in now, just do it early. The reason why I say just do it as well, we speak to tons of people who have jumped on our courses, who have been to free webinars and go, yeah, I'm a bit nervous about the posting, and they think about posting for a whole 2 months without posting anything. The thing is, you don't have to get anything perfect. You can use your content to almost be market research. If you start producing content, you can field test it all and go, actually, when I'm talking about this, I get these people engaged. When I'm talking about this, I get inquiries from here. So it doesn't always have to be perfect. You can just use that to market test and just find the right strategy for yourself. Secondly, I would say have a consistent plan or a consistent strategy. The reason why I say this is that a lot of people typically say social selling doesn't work, LinkedIn's a waste of time, because they're almost trying to do a bit of everything here and there. So they'll go, okay, for 1 week, I'll post twice this week. Next week, I'll do a couple of messages. Next week after that, I'll add a few people, but there's no consistent message or there's no consistent strategy to tie people through all of the cycle. So have a plan in place where you go, okay, step 1, I need to optimize my profile, because firstly, if I optimize my profile, that's almost like my window shop. People need to land on my profile and go, I fully understand what Curtis does. I fully understand how Curtis helps. Secondly, how do you get people to your window shop? So it's content. So having a plan around content, whether it's the posts, the articles, the PDFs, having a plan just makes it easier for you to post, as I mentioned. And then thirdly, having a prospect priming plan of going, okay, now I've got people seeing me, but how do I make sure that they're always seeing me, and how do I build the relationship? So at least when it comes to picking someone, I've got that relational advantage over any of my competitors.
So final question. I think those tips are brilliant, by the way. How long do you think somebody should spend on LinkedIn each day if their primary goal, if they're trying to sell stuff, the content, their priming of prospects, all that stuff, how much time does that take? Obviously, it'll take a bit longer at the beginning and it'll get more efficient as you go, but give people an indication of how much time they should allocate of their day towards LinkedIn.
So LinkedIn's one of those platforms, the more you give it, the more you will receive. So there's a platform that will keep compounding, so it just gets easier and easier. But if we're going, let's say, your typical salesperson who's got other sales activities to do, sales calls, if you give it between 45 minutes to an hour and a half a day, you'll see great results. Because one, you can get your posting down to 5 to 10 minutes a day. And then after that, it's just prospecting, creating those conversations with your prospects and lining and filling up your pipeline.
Yeah, I think it's crucial to say as well is that time frame that Curtis talks about isn't just something you just sit down and do in one block. It's revisiting. So I've got the habit is first thing I'm doing on the morning is making sure my posts are up, my engagement and all that's going. And then I'm looking at some of the prospects that I've had my eye on, my little list of targets, and just doing some interaction with those. And then I may disappear off the platform. After lunch, I may drop in for another 15, 20 minutes. And then actually on an evening, I'll quite happily sit there. Some people spend hours on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, looking at cat videos all day. I'm not that sad, thankfully. And so I'm sad enough, though, to be sitting on LinkedIn for a good half an hour, maybe even an hour on an evening. And I'm looking through, I'm connecting with people I know, I'm catching up with people. There's that social aspect, but I'm also looking at the individuals that I'd like to have a business conversation with. What do they talk about today? Let's just go and interact on their post. Let's make sure they know I exist. So I start showing up on their post. I'm leaving comments on there. And now they're starting to get, and what I'm looking for is reciprocating that. And so, I probably on an average day will spend about an hour to an hour and a half, but that's spread across the working day and socially, even sometimes into the evening when I'll just sit and relax and do some stuff.
Okay, so I'm sure some of you will have some questions. We have some free resources we can share with you in terms of building that one client profile, in terms of content calendars, things like that. So if there's any of our resources about how to do the 7 steps or any of those things, you can email us and we'll give you all of the information, and we'll put maybe the email in the chat somewhere, or we'll put it somewhere on screen so that you can send in and say, hey, can you fill my boot with stuff that will help me on LinkedIn? Yeah. Likewise, if you want a free call with our team, we will actually walk you through some of this in more detail. And no cost to that. That will just be to help you. We want to add value to, we're doing exactly what we preach in saying, give value, show people the difference you make. And some people will say, I need your guys' help. So if you want a free strategy call, we'll put that link somewhere, or we'll email you the link if you want to book in. And in January, we'll give you all of that resource. And we'll tell you and share with you about the bootcamp, which is that interactive session where you get yourself started. So thank you for watching us today. It's the last session of 2021. On the 3rd of January, we have a pipeline leads and sales webinar. I know it's early, 3rd of January, but it's going to help you kickstart and build your plan for 2022 so that you can go, not just what do I need to do to make bank and hit the sales targets every month, but how can I build a plan that makes it easier to hit the sales targets in Q2, in Q3, and in Q4 of 2022. So have a great Christmas, holiday, whatever it is, wherever you're watching, and we'll see you in 2022 with leads and sales.
Past year, Maverrik has helped generate more than 15 million in new business. The biggest reason for this is our 90-day training and implementation platform we call the Accelerator Program, where we teach your team to sell on social media with an implement-as-you-go strategy. It's not a pre-recorded course, it's hands-on sales training that develops and grows with you, with 90 days of real action that generates business and long-term revenue. So who is it for? This program is for entrepreneurs, marketing and sales professionals who want to sell without ads, cold calling, or pushy tactics. A better way of selling with real steps to take which speeds up your sales process without burning any bridges. These are just a few examples of results our members have achieved using the Accelerator. As you can see, the Accelerator isn't about quick wins, it's about building a better sales process. If you'd like to learn more, just book a call with the Maverrik team and we'll show you how the Accelerator program can win you new business.